All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 1 from LeMans. Andrew Lau, Dylan Steinbach have the front row. Giancarlo and Max Gunther on the second row. Callie Evian and Adam Barker have the third row. Brian Hewitt, Ryan McDaniel in the fourth. Simon Zierk and Rudolph Gunther round out your top 10. Yannick Gunther starting in 11th, followed by Mike Marshall in 12th. Brian Debelow in 13th, Xander in 14th, Cody Kennedy rounding out the 15-car field here at LeMans. Dylan Steinbach was the fastest in qualifying, and you have to think that Mercedes power paid off here in the early going, as everybody takes to the grid. Just waiting on the last couple of drivers to grid, not doing a full pace lap here. Coming through those final turns, everybody there together could be interesting. Big field here for LeMans this week. Drivers stacked up, ready to go. And it does not look like Xander is going to make the grid, so 14 cars will start. Is Xander choosing to start from pit road, or did he miss the grid? We'll keep you updated on Xander's status. That leaves the lone Mercedes of Dylan Steinbach in the field. Xander has apparently hopped to pit road, so he will start from pit road. They come down that back straightaway. And through those two chicanes, it could be very interesting. Xander might have the best position starting from the back. Here they come through the final turns. The Porsche Space Car gets ready to head into pit road. Race number 2 with that pit stop will be interesting as well. LeMans pit road entry has been known to cause drivers issues in the past. 8.42 miles, 38 turns. Porsche pace car is in. They go single file through the final turn. Lau fires. He is away. Green flag is in the air at LeMans. Xander is rolling off pit road. All the drivers coming up through the first couple of turns, pretty much single file. Look like Simon Zierk on the attack. Ryan McDaniel has a problem. Manages to save it, but wow, that was a close call for Team Gunther. Rudolph and Yannick were both right there. Lau out front as they hit the long straightaway, but Dylan Steinbach, this is where that Mercedes will come alive. Adam Barker on the move back behind, currently in 5th. Trying to run down Giancarlo Calievian right behind. And Xander already on the move. Xander is slicing his way through traffic. Lau into the first chicane, continues to lead. Steinbach getting closer and closer. Giancarlo currently in the Ford, back currently in 4th place. Adam Barker, Calievian right there with them as they head toward that second chicane. This is one of the spots where the Ferrari drivers commented that that car had a little bit of snap oversteer. Steinbach appears to have a slowdown. He has moved over. Max Gunther now to 2nd place. Lau's lead currently 1.2 seconds. The Porsche at a distinct disadvantage this morning on the straightaways, as here comes Barker now into 4th. Adam has been on the attack since the drop of the green, also on the attack. Xander, who started from pit road, is coming through the field. Dylan Steinbach has lost a lot of ground. Brian Hewitt in 9th has just lost a position as Xander takes it. Xander maximum attack this morning. Andrew Lau out front extends his lead over Max Gunther. Those Ferraris definitely fast on the straightaway. The Porsche at a distinct disadvantage here. Giancarlo now in 3rd, Barker in 4th, Steinbach back in 5th. It looked like Steinbach got a huge slowdown in that second chicane. He'll be a little bit more careful next time. Ryan McDaniel has gone off track, back behind. He has recovered. Ryan in the Porsche this morning, and we have seen the struggles, talked about the struggles the Porsche is having today. As everybody comes around to complete the first lap, first lap completed in just over 4 minutes. Let's take a look. Mike Marshall has also had a problem. Let's take a look at Ryan and Mike. Ryan in a new paint scheme this morning in the Porsche. Just goes a bit wide. A lot of the Porsche drivers talking about how slidey the car is this morning. Mike Marshall had gotten by, but there's that snap oversteer from the Ferrari we've been talking about. Brian Hewitt also having a problem in the Ferrari. Just snaps loose again off into the sand. He does recover, but lost a lot of ground. Andrew Lau has checked out. Giancarlo now in 2nd. Max Gunther in 3rd. Max staying right in the slipstream of the Ford with the Mercedes of Dylan Steinbach right there. Kalievian in 5th has Simon Zierk in 6th on his bumper. Adam Barker has slipped back to 7th. Rudolph Gunther now into 8th. Xander right behind. Scoring is not updated yet, but Xander should be scored. In 8th place at the moment. See if we can see what happened with Adam Barker causing him to lose so many positions. There's Adam pulling out onto the straightaway, trying to shake the... No, he had a slowdown. Seeing quite a few slowdowns already this morning. So Adam has dropped back to 7th place, has a lot of ground to gain. Andrew Lau is out front over Giancarlo by 5 seconds. Dylan has recovered up to 3rd in the Mercedes. Hevian now up into 4th. Simon Zierk up 4 spots into the top 5. Coming into the morning, Zierk was 6th in points, trying to close the gap on Giancarlo. But after the sweep last week by Giancarlo at Monza, he is looking to make up and get back into the points battle. Last week was definitely an exciting and interesting race, as the first time the NSS boys have encountered the rain. Track temperature continuing to go down, now down to 79 degrees. Closer to what the drivers had this week. In the officials, as Ryan McDaniel has gone to pit road. We talked about the Porsches having all sorts of problems here this morning. He just snaps. Oh, what a hard hit! Take a look at this from a different angle as Ryan comes out. The car is sliding, snaps loose on it, and just hard hit into the tire wall. Andrew Lau continues to extend his lead on track. Now 6.5 seconds over Giancarlo. Kalievian in 3rd. Simon Zierk 4th. Dylan has drifted back to 5th yet again. Down the straightaway into the left-hand chicane. This may get a little bit tight. Zierk pulls out ahead. Now Simon into 3rd. But look who's right behind after starting from pit road. Xander in 6th. And those two Mercedes together on track, if they decide to work together, they could be, they could be unstoppable. Xander making some gutsy moves there. Hopefully did not get a slowdown as he came into that turn. Does not appear so, as Byron Debolo has had a problem. See, it looks like he just came off the corner, gets into the grass, slides to the outside wall, lost the rear spoiler, and hard hit on the right side of the car. And you can see the impact that rear spoiler not having it makes. Lau continuing to dominate, now almost a 7-second lead over Giancarlo. Simon Zierk now up to third, Callie Evian in fourth, Xander now up into fifth. Xander has just monstered that Mercedes through this field. As Evian has some problems in the final turn, he has given up a lot of ground here. Xander now up 10 spots into fourth, Steinbach in fifth. Barker now in sixth, Max Gunther in seventh, Callie Evian in eighth. Points leader Yannick Gunther is really struggling here this morning. He is back in 10th. That will allow Adam Barker to close some of that 32-point gap. Adam currently running in 5th as Xander in 4th continues to march forward. He is just 1.4 seconds back from Simon and closing. Worth noting that Andrew Lau has set the fastest lap every lap so far. Last time by 3:57.7. He now has a 7.7 second lead over Giancarlo. Simon Zierk in third is starting to close the gap. He's going to have to do something though. Xander less than a second behind in fourth. Adam Barker in fifth. Max Gunther in sixth. Steinbach on the move. Steinbach was one of the fastest cars here in the early going, but slowdown penalties have hurt him dramatically. And Andrew Lau out front is just out for a Sunday drive. Remember, going into race number 2, the top 7 from the finish here will invert, meaning as of now, Andrew Lau will start back in 7th. Byron Debelow has pulled back out on track. Xander started in 14th, actually started from pit road, has now made his way up into third as he battles for third here with Simon Zierk and will take third place. Oh, a little wide through the sand. Simon attacks back on the high side. But onto the long straightaway here, the Mercedes power likely will prevail. Simon drops into the slipstream, hoping for an opportunity. Xander now up 11 spots after starting from pit road. Imagine how he is going to do starting somewhere in the top 10 in race number 2. He is 4 1/4 seconds back from Giancarlo. And it does look like they'll get the white flag next time by, giving everybody another lap here. Simon Zierk sitting in fourth. Adam Barker now in fifth. Steinbach back in sixth. Max Gunther in seventh. Rudolph Gunther in eighth. Kalle Evjen in ninth. Yannick Gunther in 10th. Cody Kennedy has been quietly running. Started at 15th, now up 4 spots into 11th. Brian Hewitt had some problems earlier. He has dropped back to 12th. Mike Marshall had problems earlier as well, still holding on in 13th. Byron Devereaux back out on track in 14th. Ryan McDaniel on pit road. He'll be back for race 2. Lau's lead now over 8.5 seconds over Giancarlo, and Xander has closed the gap now down to 2.5 seconds behind Giancarlo. Rumor has it last time NSS was here, Xander's setup had no wing in it whatsoever. That car was just a bullet. Minimal downforce, all speed. Plus that Mercedes power, and it just sounds mean. Simon Zierk in fourth has pulled away from fifth place. Adam Barker. Dylan Steinbach in sixth as Max Gunther right on his bumper. Remember, the Porsche's really struggling here this morning. Having to utilize the slipstream of anybody they can on the straightaways. And for the first time all season, the Porsche is apparently struggling in the turns here this morning. Lau's lead over 8 seconds. Xander just 1.6 seconds back from second place. I don't think 4-time champ Giancarlo will have anything for the Mercedes coming behind. Meanwhile, Andrew Lau doesn't care. He is in a whole nother dimension. Lau headed toward the final turns of the track. All 3 Team Gunther cars still in the top 10, but man, not what Team Gunther is used to doing here. Max Gunther currently in 7th, Rudolph Gunther in 8th, and Yannick Gunther, the points leader, back in 10th. And Giancarlo now has Lau all over the back bumper. I'm sorry, Giancarlo now has Xander all over the back bumper. The gap to the leader is insurmountable at this point for Xander as he takes second from Giancarlo. But man, what a run to start from pit road and finish in second. Giancarlo trying to get that four-day run, but couldn't find enough speed to get past Xander. Does look like the Ford gets out of the turn just a hair better, but then the Mercedes just powers away. Simon still holding on to fourth, Adam in fifth. And Lau just a few miles from victory lane. Xander in second. Giancarlo, for the moment, able to stay in his slipstream. Not sure if he will be able to maintain that. Giancarlo going on the attack. Did not have enough into the turn. Xander now putting some space between him and Giancarlo. Andrew Lau's lead has shrunk to 7.5 seconds with Xander charging. Remember, Lau had opened up a 9-second lead at one point. There's not enough time left and not enough miles left for Xander to catch him. But race number 2, they better watch out. Xander is coming for him. Meanwhile, Andrew Lau headed toward the final turns. Andrew has dominated since the drop of the green flag through the final 2 turns. Andrew Lau will get the win at Le Mans. Xander coming home in second, and Giancarlo will finish third on the last lap. Xander set the fastest lap of the race by over 2 seconds. Let's see if we can talk to our top 3, starting with Giancarlo.
You do that too.
Giancarlo, first off, a great another podium finish, but I have to ask, man, does anybody have anything for Xander this morning?
Oh, not even slightly. I couldn't even dream of it. He's just way too fast.
You look like you were sitting in a slipstream for a bit, but through a couple of turns, he just suddenly went from you being right on his bumper to a second and a half ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I made a bit of a mistake going through Indianapolis, but either way, going through the S's, he was gaining a half a second on me just there, and then obviously on every other corner. So it's can't really keep up with him.
Well, man, still a great run after your sweep last week at Monza. You jump up to 5th in points. Today's definitely going to help you continue to gain a little bit of ground.
Indeed. Hopefully we'll do well in the second race as well.
Well, hope so, man. Great job, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo comes home in third. Xander comes home in second with the fastest lap of the race. Xander, you come home in second after starting from pit road, and on the final lap, you have the fastest lap of the race by over 2 seconds.
Yeah, amazing race. Good car. good setup. Thanks to the factory, to the team back home.
Did the factory and the team back home put nitrous in that car? You were just blisteringly fast. I mean, to be 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else, and especially on the last lap with tire wear, and man, that was just one heck of a run.
Yeah, it felt mega. But it's really good for the next for the feature race. So let's see what I can do there.
Well, you won't have as far to come, and you gained I think 14 spots. 12 spots in the first race. Now going into the feature, man, starting from about 6th place, you're not going to have very far to go.
No, we will see. I think it will be fun and interesting. So let's see what I can do.
Well, man, great run. Good luck in the feature race, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Xander being awfully humble there for the domination he just showed, but on to our winner, Andrew Lau. Andrew, you pulled off you pretty much led from the drop of the green flag, and at one point had a 9-second lead.
Yeah, just avoiding the slowdowns like everyone else was getting. You could hear the entire chat, everyone's getting slow down, except I kept it on the track, so we were able to build that lead pretty easily.
You definitely were able, and it just kept growing and growing. You were obviously fast because the first, I think, 3 laps, you had the fastest lap every single time, and the fastest lap of the race every single time. But the fastest lap ended up being the final lap from Xander. So going into race 2, Xander's going to start just ahead of you. How worried are you?
Oh, I have no chance. He started from the pits and made it all the way to second. We have no chance.
On that last lap, he gained like 2 seconds on you as well. I mean, it's that Ferrari of yours looked extremely fast out there. And like I said, the fastest laps for the majority of the race. But can you just hang out in his slipstream and battle it out on the last lap?
We'll try. The last couple laps, I eased off a bit just to make sure I wouldn't get a slow down or spin the car and cause myself to win. Yeah, we're gonna have to try to stick in the slipstream. Everyone knows Xander is super quick, so that might be tough. We'll see what we can do.
Well, man, a great win. Obviously, you're 4th in points coming into this morning, and you beat Rudolph, Adam, and Yannick. So the points battle is going to tighten up as well today.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Not really worried about the points. Just trying to have a little bit of fun this season.
Well, you're doing quite well for just having some fun. Good luck in race 2,
thanks,
buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Andrew Lau coming home with the win in race 1. That, Ryan, that was one heck of a wild hit, buddy. So, just about 2 minutes to go before we hit race number 2. And as always, race 2, a longer race, will require a fuel stop. And the question really becomes, does anybody have anything for Xander? He started from pit road in race 1 and came home in 2nd. Having the fastest lap on the final lap. Going into race 2, he'll start from 6th place. Will anybody be able to stop him? Simon Zierk, Dylan Steinbach, and Cody Kennedy out getting some practice in here. Everybody trying to find that last little bit of speed. Steinbach was incredibly fast in race number 1, but kept having problems in getting slowdowns. And as we heard, everybody was struggling with slowdowns in race number 1. So the drivers will be a little bit more cautious here in race 2, trying to avoid those slowdowns to see if they can battle with Track temperature continuing to drop, now down to 77 degrees. Down 5 degrees from where the drivers started today, and about where they were in the officials this week. So the drivers that raced in the officials will now have a bit of an advantage here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 2 from LeMans. The top 7 did invert. So Max Gunther and Dylan Steinbach on the front row. Adam Barker, Simon Zierk on the second. Giancarlo and Xander have the third row. Andrew Laub, Callie Evian on the fourth. Rudolph Gunther, Yannick Gunther round out your top 10. Cody Kennedy starting in 11th next to Mike Marshall in 12th. Brian Hewitt starting in 13th, Byron Debelow in 14th, Ryan McDaniel rounding out the 15-car field here today. All the drivers getting lined up on the grid. And Xander did grid this time, so he will be starting. Byron Debelow is starting from pit road. And Ryan McDaniel does not grid. Well, this is about to get even more interesting. Ryan McDaniel had to address some personal stuff, so unable to race. Track temp now down to 77 degrees, same they had in warm-up, giving the advantage here to the guys that raced in the officials this week. Pace car leading him around through the final turns. And it looks like everybody's going to go through the final turns single file. That's going to give Max Gunther a little bit of an opportunity to pull away. However, as we've mentioned all morning long, the Porsche's really struggling here this morning. Points leader Yannick Gunther starting back in 10th. And keep a close eye on that gold Mercedes of Xander as they come through the final turn. Max fires. They are away. Green flag is in the air at Le Mans. As we said, keep a close eye on Xander here, already attacking on the high side, taking 5th place from Giancarlo. Oh, little bobble. Gathers it up and sends it again. Byron Debelow did exit pit road. He is now out on track. Dylan Steinbach, the other Mercedes, what can he do on this first lap? He was definitely fast in qualifying. and fast in race 1 when he didn't get a slowdown. Meanwhile, Xander already on the attack, up to 4th. Xander quickly taking 4th place, sets his sights on Adam Barker in 3rd. Simon Zierk looked to the inside into the chicane, but didn't have the momentum. Max Gunther still out front, Steinbach in 2nd. Race 1 winner, Andrew Lau, still holds on to 7th place. Right behind 6th place, Giancarlo. Giancarlo trying to attack Simon. Dead even into that second chicane. Simon may pull it off here. Wow, close call between those 3 drivers. Three-car battle for 5th. Up ahead, Xander closing the gap on Steinbach and Barker. Adam Barker now up into 2nd place, sets his sights on the leader. Steinbach on the attack for 2nd place. Adam Barker still holds on to it. Now Xander on the high side, trying to clear Dylan Steinbach. It looks like he may pull it off. Xander now to 3rd. Rudolph Gunther and Yannick Gunther nose to tail. Taliefian right behind 8th, 9th, and 10th. Max Gunther currently out front. Looks like that Porsche has found a little bit of speed this morning, at least for the moment. Brian Hewitt had a brief off track a moment ago. However, he still holds on to it and is in 12th. Mike Marshall back in 13th. Byron Debelow in 14th. Byron already closing the gap up to Mike Marshall after starting on pit road. From what we have seen this morning, starting from pit road has not been a bad thing, as now Xander into 2nd. Xander taking 2nd place from Adam Barker, now sets his sights on the leader as they head off down the straightaway. The Porsche struggling for straight line speed here this morning, as it has all season long. The Mercedes, though, all the power, all the straight line speed, and a big run from Xander as they head toward the first chicane. He is right on Max's bumper. Out of the first chicane, this may be where Xander makes his attack for the lead. Xander steps out, shoots to the inside. He's got the run. Dylan Steinbach now back up into 3rd. Looks like Barker got a slowdown. Several cars going by. Max holding on to it for the moment as they go through the second chicane. But as they power out, Xander pulls ahead. And Xander to the lead for the first time this morning. Max Gunther staying in his slipstream in second. Dylan Steinbach back in third. The other Mercedes closing the gap. Giancarlo in fourth. Andrew Lau now up into fifth. Lau had a dominant performance in race one, pulling off the lead and the win. Can he repeat it here, run back up, and give Xander a run for his money? Adam Barker was up battling for second place earlier on, but has dropped back to sixth after slowdown penalties. A lot of drivers really struggling with track limits and slowdowns this morning. Simon Zier currently running in seventh, Rudolf Gunther in eighth. Kalle Evian back in ninth. Yannick Gunther, the points leader, currently in 10th. Cody Kennedy in the BMW, currently back in 11th. Byron Debelo in the Ferrari, started from pit road, already up into 12th. Brian Hewitt currently in 13th. Mike Marshall in 14th. And it appears Giancarlo has had a problem. Oh, coming out of the corner, Giancarlo gets loose. Same situation we saw in race one with a couple of drivers and multiple hits into the wall. He does get the car limped to pit road, but man, a heartbreak for one of the top guys. Byron Debelo has also had a problem a moment ago. Let's see what happened there. Oh, just shoots wide through the sand. Loses a lot of ground there, but manages to hold on to it and keep it out of the wall. Xander did set the fastest lap last time by at 3:57.07. Only about 3 drivers have broke into the 3:57s. Only 4 drivers under the 4-minute mark so far. Your top 4, Xander, Max Gunther, Dylan Steinbach, and Andrew Lau. Giancarlo is back out on track, but now all the way back to 14th. Max Gunther still holding on to second with Dillon on his bumper, and Lau has just about caught him. Adam Barker back in fifth, starting to pull up back into the fight here in a moment. Simon Zierk back in sixth, Rudolph Gunther in seventh, Callie Evian currently in eighth, Yannick Gunther in ninth, Cody Kennedy in 10th. Byron Devereaux now up into 11th, is closing the gap on the cars ahead. Max Gunther was battling with Rudolph, or with Yannick rather, has had a problem and lost a lot of ground. Oh. Max comes out of the turn. We talked about it in race one. The Porsche just sliding all over the place this morning. And Brian Hewitt has had a problem. Hewitt headed toward the final turns of the track, just on the power, gets loose and smacks the wall. Quickly gets it rolling again and has gone to pit road. Xander set another fast lap. And there you can see the fast lap times, the fastest laps of the drivers so far. Xander's fast lap last time by well over 1.5 seconds faster than everybody else. Xander just in a whole nother dimension. Simon Zierk set his fastest lap last time by, is closing the gap now on Andrew Lau. The BMWs have been pretty quiet this morning. Quietly sitting in the top 10, but not making a lot of noise. But now both BMWs in the top 10, Simon in 5th. Cody Kennedy, oh ho ho ho! Cody Kennedy was in 9th, but now the battle is on. Byron Devereaux gets by, Max Gunther right behind. Cody gets a little bit of the grass, slows down, and it is enough for Max to get by. Cody now back to 11th. Xander's lead now 7.4, almost 7.5 seconds over the other Mercedes of Dylan Steinbach. Adam Barker still on Dylan's bumper in 3rd. Lau right behind in 4th. Simon Zierk not far behind in 5th, closing that gap down. And Brian Hewitt is officially out of the race after that incident. LeMans has claimed quite a few victims already this morning. One driver who has not been a victim yet, Xander out front. He sets his fastest lap again, even faster this time. His lead now 8.7 seconds and growing. He is officially 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else. And we have had some problems back behind Max Gunther, Kalievian, both involved. Here's Max Gunther. Just slides it around. Cody Kennedy managing to sneak by. Kalievian coming through the final turns. Gets the rumble strip on the final turn and it sends him around. Quickly gets it going and pointed the right way, but did lose a position. Hey, good morning, OU fan. How are you this morning? Xander still out front. That lead continuing to grow, now almost 10 seconds over Dylan. Andrew Lau sitting in third, Adam Barker fourth, Simon Zierk in fifth. Rudolph Gunther currently sitting in 6th place, up 3 spots. Yannick Gunther up 3 spots into 7th. I'm doing pretty good. Cody Kennedy has cracked back into the top 10 for the moment. Giancarlo starting to make some ground back up again, now up into 12th after that heartbreaking incident earlier in the race. Hey, good morning, Richie. How are you doing, buddy? Adam Barker, the battle is on for second. Adam Barker on the attack, almost got second away from Steinbach. Now Andrew Lau in the fight. That has allowed Simon Zierk to close right up, almost some contact. Lau is around. There may have been contact with Barker. There's Lau. Oh, there was definitely contact with Barker. Lau goes around hard on the brakes and loses several spots. After winning race number 1, this is heartbreaking for Lau. Don't forget, folks, tonight at 7 Eastern, BRR recruitment continues. Tonight they are at Auto Club. Make sure you tune in. If you're on iRacing, come out and try out. We'll be in hosted sessions under BRR. Giancarlo has had another problem. Right behind Mike Marshall as they come into the final turns. Oh, looked like he might have gotten too close and had to jam on the brakes. Looking down from the blimp. Whoa, yep, he got right there. Man, what a close one. Hey, good morning, Xander. Adam Barker still has taken second from Dylan Steinbach. Simon Zierk now back in the battle, but nobody has anything for Xander out front. Last time by, he set the fastest lap yet again, and again well over 2 seconds faster than anybody else. Cody Kennedy is the first driver in for pit stops. Oh, you fan, you ought to come join us. We are working on making it an every week deal again. Adam, Dylan, and Simon's here currently second, third, and fourth. Really the biggest battle on track right now between these three, because Xander has just checked out. His lead now 17 and a half seconds and growing every single lap. Rudolph Gunther back in fifth, but almost 10 seconds behind that battle. Lau in sixth after that incident. Don't count him out yet. He's only about 15 seconds back. I think with a little pit strategy and as fast as he has been this morning, he might be able to gain some ground. Dylan Steinbach is in for his pit stop. In fact, you fan, if you want to message me, we'll be putting a post on Facebook later. I've got one admin lined up. I'll need at least 2 more. Yannick Gunther is on pit road. Byron Debelo, who started from pit road, is now up into 8th place. Giancarlo has had a problem again. This is unusual. Oh, just slips the back end through that turn. The whole car goes into a 4-wheel drift. He recovers it. But man, the third problem we have seen Giancarlo have this morning. Cody Kennedy has had a problem, just a little bit of off track. Let's see how he is doing. It looks like this part of the, hard hit. Nose first into the tire wall. He gets it recovered. And it does look like he is going to pit road for repairs. Xander still in the lead. Adam Barker back in second. Simon Zierk now in third. Lau in fourth. Last time by, Lau was the second fastest car on track. And of course, Xander at 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else is the fastest, but Lau is, okay, great. Lau is definitely gaining ground quickly. Rudolph Gunther has some damage to the front of that car from an earlier incident. Likely see him on pit road here in a few moments. Yannick Gunther has completed his stop. Xander has given up the lead. He is in. Adam Barker now giving up second. He is headed in. Simon Zierk in third, headed to pit road. Andrew Lau in fourth. He is headed in. Rudolph Gunther likely headed in this time. And OU fan, definitely 7 Eastern tonight, BRR recruitment race. It'll be in the hosted sessions. You ought to come join. Byron Demelo and Rudolph Gunther are both in. Max Gunther now headed in. Looks like the vast majority of the field is going to be in this time. Dylan Steinbach has had a problem and towed to pit road. Mike Marshall headed it. No. Yep. Mike Marshall is headed to pit road. Let's see what happened with Dylan. Dylan in that second Mercedes has been running folks down on, looks like, and ouch, a hard hit. He got a little bit of the grass coming through that turn. Looking down from the blimp, should be able to see as he cuts through there, just barely gets the grass. It's just enough for a hard hit into the tire wall. Xander is back out off pit road and still has the lead. In fact, his lead grew on pit road, now 23.8 seconds. Adam Barker back in second. Simon Zierk in third, about 4 seconds back. Lau now back up into fourth and only 11.2 seconds back. Yannick Gunther in fifth, about 6 seconds back and closing. Rudolph Gunther currently in seventh. Myron Debelo, after starting on pit road, is now up to seventh. Callie Evian currently in eighth. Max Gunther in ninth. Giancarlo in 10th. A heartbreaking morning for him. multiple issues. Very unusual to see Giancarlo struggling. Dylan Steinbach back out on track in 11th. Mike Marshall in 12th. Cody Kennedy back to 13th. Brian Hewitt, Ryan McDaniel out of the race early. Race 2 has definitely been the more eventful race here today. Race 1 only saw about 3 or 4 incidents. And in race 2, we've already seen about 10 incidents out on track. One driver already out. And Ryan McDaniel, of course, did not take the grid for race 2. Brian Hewitt out early. And a lot of drivers that were extremely fast in race 1 have just continued to go backwards and struggle. A bit of a surprise to see Giancarlo struggling this morning. We saw him dominate the race last week in the rain. If you missed that, check it out. It is on our YouTube channel. The first ever GT3 NSS race that had rain at Monza. Man, that race was wild. Xander's lead continuing to grow, now over 26 seconds ahead of Barker. Simon in third is closing in on Adam Barker in fourth, but Andrew Lau is charging. Now just over 10.5 seconds behind Simon. Yannick Gunther back in fifth, has a big gap back to Rudolph Gunther in sixth. Byron Devereaux in seventh. He had that massive charge from last, but does not looks like he has lost a little bit of momentum. He is now 8.7 seconds back. And Callie Evian has had a problem. Coming down the hill. Oh, the whole car just goes into a four-wheel drift. Despite track temperatures coming down, with the rubber being laid down, parts of this track are getting slicker, as we saw right there. We have seen some of the higher speed, wider turns starting to cause some problems late in the race. Adam Barker sitting in second is losing ground. Simon in third, closing in. Now 3.3 seconds back, but Andrew Lau continuing to close the gap. Now just over 10 seconds back. Out front, Xander's lead now 25.3 seconds. At this point, he just needs to cruise, make sure he doesn't have any problems. He can back it down dramatically and still have a dominant win here. Lau is not backing it down at all, continuing his charge toward the front. Byron Devereaux has also started to close the gap again on 6th place. Rudolph Gunther now just 7.5 seconds back. Byron Devereaux on the attack all morning long. Points leader Yannick Gunther had a rough first race, but now sits in 5th place. Not gaining any ground on Andrew Lau, but has an 11-second gap on Rudolph in 6th. Andrew Lau back at 4. Dylan Steinbach has had a problem. He is towed to pit road. Dylan in the Mercedes has been able to attack all morning. Oh! Into the grass and into the tire wall. Second time we have seen that happen here this morning. Just trying to get as much as he can, just barely touches the grass, but that tire wall just totaled the car. Andrew Lau just set his fastest lap of the race, a 35.34. Over half a second faster than Simon Zierk's 357.94. And last time by, surprisingly, Xander ran a 358.02. Xander just is not pushing it anymore. He knows he's got that big, almost 30-second buffer. With 10 minutes left to go, he knows he does not have to push the car to the limit. And I stand corrected. Last time by, Xander did a 355.93. Apparently he just took a lap off. Cody Kennedy back in 12th place, trying to run down Mike Marshall. Last time by was 2 seconds faster than Marshall, but currently 28 seconds behind. Evian back in 10th place. A rough second race. Speaking of rough second races, Giancarlo had an almost picture-perfect first race, but man, race number 2, everything possibly that could go wrong has. Max Gunther losing a lot of ground after starting on the pole. Now back in 8th. Byron have a little problem there. Byron starting from pit road up 7 spots into 7th. Rudolph Gunther up to 6th. And Yannick currently in 5th. Andrew Lau in 4th, just 8 seconds behind Simon Zierk and Adam Barker. Meanwhile, out front, Xander's lead now almost 31 seconds. Simon is losing ground to the Ferrari of Adam Barker. Ferrari seems to have been the most balanced car here this morning, but Mercedes power and Mercedes straight line speed have definitely prevailed. Yannick, the points leader, currently in 5th place. Second in points, Adam Barker, currently second on track. So Adam is going to gain a little bit of ground here today. Rudolph Gunther, who sits 3rd in points, currently 6th on track. 4th in points, Andrew Lau, 4th on track and won race number 1. Lau definitely having a great points day today. Sun starting to go down, starting to see headlights coming on, and it's getting a little bit darker out on track. Track temperature has now dropped down to 74 degrees, the coolest it's been all day. Drivers will have a little bit more grip, will be able to go a little faster, but the big question here is, do they have enough fuel? Did they allocate fuel for the higher speeds and more fuel consumption? Remember, as the track and the air cools down, the engine runs better, the car goes faster, but it uses more fuel in the process. When they practiced, during the practice session, the track temp was 82 degrees, so substantially hotter. Adam Barker back in 2nd, Simon Zierk in 3rd, Lau Now just 7.1 seconds back from Simon. Will they have enough time left to gain ground? Last time by, Andrew Lau and Simon Zierk's lap times were identical. Byron Debelow has also been closing up on Rudolf Gunther. Byron just 9 seconds back from Rudolf, likely not going to be able to catch up. But what a run for Byron this morning. This is only Byron's second race with NSS. His first race last week at Monza did not have a great run. Finished 5th in race number 1. Finished 6th in race 1. And did not finish race number 2. So definitely a major improvement for Byron. Also worth noting, this is only Xander's second race of the season. He was here for Watkins Glen and won race number 2 there. I did not see Barney the Flagman waving the white flag that time. See if we can ride along with Simon out of the final turn. No. No white flag flying yet. If they do get another lap after this one, it definitely benefits Andrew Lau, as he is now just 6.1 seconds, less than 6 seconds back now. Also a huge benefit to Byron Debelow, who is still trying to close the gap on Rudolf Gunther. Rudolf also closing in on Yannick. Rudolf now just 2.7 seconds back. Likely to see the checkered flag this time. As Xander has just dominated the second race. Adam Barker has done a great job holding on to second despite all the battles he has been through. Simon Zierk currently running in third. He gave it everything he had this morning to stay on the podium. Andrew Lau back in fourth. Man, he had incidents earlier, but has fought his way back and a couple more laps, he might have gotten to the podium. Points leader Yannick Gunther in 5th has Dad Rudolph in 6th, closing in. Mike Marshall is unexpectedly going to pit road. Not sure why Mike Marshall is on pit road here at the end of the race. As Xander works his way into the final sector. Through the final turns, he has dominated all of race number 2. He has been unstoppable, and he is going to pull it off. Xander wins race 2 at Le Mans. Adam Barker in 2nd. 35 seconds back. That tells you how much faster Xander was this morning. And Adam Barker will come home in 2nd. Simon Zierk pulls off 3rd. And let's see if we can talk to our top 3, starting with Simon. Simon, you came home 3rd, but man, what a battle you guys had going on there for a while.
Yeah, good race. Consistent driving, and I think all position I gained were from slowdowns from the others. So it was really close at the end. I was really close to Adam, and then I got also a slowdown, and I lost all the time I made.
Oh man, you still, even with the slowdown, which I think everybody just about had a slowdown today, man, a great job and a great podium finish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Simon Zierk coming home in 3rd. Adam Barker finishes in 2nd. Adam, you came home 2nd. You had some wild battles out there. Got a little bumpy at one point, but you still managed to come home with a podium.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. The slowdowns are really hurting. It was a really sweaty race, that. So trying hard, and no way to keep up with Xander. He was so quick, and just trying to keep everyone else back. I decided not to go for tires, just because I didn't want to go through the Porsche curves in with slightly warm tires and end up putting it in a wall. So I think I was a little bit slower towards the end than normally would have been, but yeah, it was a good race.
Well, it definitely worked in your favor. The strategy was perfect. You kept Simon behind you, but I don't think anybody could have ran Xander down today, even though you turned some fast laps in that race.
Yeah, Xander was next level. He was really quick. It's impossible to keep up with him. I don't know how he does it.
I would suggest having the car do a post-race inspection. Just a thought.
Yeah, better scrutineering maybe.
Definitely. Great job today, Adam. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Adam Barker comes home in 2nd, but Xander just dominates the race. Xander, nothing to say but just domination this morning.
Yeah, it was a mega drive. Yeah, I enjoy it. It was fun.
You were 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else. And you did that consistently for several laps where you were just setting the fastest lap repeatedly.
Yeah, I was trying to push it to see where my limit is at, and I think I found it. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Honestly, I don't know that any of us know how you did it. And man, it was just a super impressive drive and a great morning. Congratulations. Awesome win.
Yeah, thank you.
Xander pulls off the win. Wow, what a performance. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget tonight, 7 Eastern BRR Cup Series recruitment race. Don't miss that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you tonight. Have a great day, everybody.